All right, today we are cracking open something really special. It's an ancient text called the Paṭisambhidāmagga, which translates to the Path of Discrimination. And trust me, it's this incredible ancient guide for getting your head straight, for finding real mental clarity and wisdom.
I mean, think about it. We are just drowning in information, right? Every second, it's another notification, another opinion, another headline. It's a lot. So the big question is, how on earth do you find actual wisdom in all of that noise? How do you find what's actually true?
Well, believe it or not, this ancient text we're talking about has an answer. And look, I know what you're thinking. Ancient text sounds kind of dry, right? But you gotta reframe that. Think of this thing less like a dusty old scroll and more like an operating manual for your mind. A system designed specifically to cut through all that chaos.
So, where do you even start with a manual like that? Well, it kicks off with something we all think we're good at, but it flips the whole idea on its head. It all starts with the art of listening.
Okay, so in the original Pali, the term is sutamaye ñāṇam. And this is absolutely not about just letting words wash over you. No, this is a deep, intentional, focused kind of listening. The kind of attention that actually creates wisdom inside of you. It's like the master key that unlocks this entire way of thinking.
All right, now this is where things get super practical. This text gives us this brilliant 5-part framework, basically a system for sorting and making sense of, well, everything.
Okay, let's walk through these 5 categories. They're actually pretty intuitive. First up, abhiññaya. These are things to be directly known. Think of it like raw data, what your senses are picking up. Next is pariññaya, things to be fully understood. This is about digging deeper, seeing what's really going on. Third, pahataba. This one's easy, things to be abandoned, stuff you gotta let go of. Then we have bhavataba, things to be developed. These are the good qualities, the stuff you want to grow. And last, sachikataba, the big one, things to be realized. These are the ultimate truths you're aiming for.
Okay, so that's the system. It sounds cool, right? But how does it actually work? How do you apply this to the real, messy world we live in? Well, the genius of this text is that it doesn't start with some abstract philosophical idea. Nope, it grounds this whole framework right where we live, in our senses. Everything you see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and even the thoughts in your head.
So, there's this direct quote that says, the eye is to be directly known, the ear is to be directly known, the mind is to be directly known. What's that mean? It means they all fall into that first category, abhiññaya. The instruction is just to see them for what they are, tools for perception, without piling on a bunch of stories and judgments. But here's where it gets really interesting. This framework isn't just for sorting your senses. Its true power, its wow moment, comes when you realize it's basically a decoder ring for one of the most famous teachings out there, the Four Noble Truths.
Just look at how this plays out. This is what makes it so powerful. It turns deep philosophy into a practical to-do list. So, the first noble truth, suffering or dukkhaṃ. What do you do with it? You're meant to fully understand it. The second, the cause of suffering, samudaya. That's something to be abandoned. Get rid of it. The third, the end of suffering, nirodho. That's the goal to be realized. And finally, the fourth, the path itself, maggo. That's what you're supposed to develop. See? Each one gets a clear, active instruction. It's brilliant.
And once you start seeing the world through this lens, this sorting system, the text starts showing you these really stark, powerful contrasts. It basically lays out a fundamental choice you have to make, a choice between the world of suffering and the path to real freedom.
The text puts it right out there. It says that arising, the endless cycle of things popping into existence, is basically the same thing as suffering, or dukkham. So what's the opposite? Non-arising. And that, the text says, is what true happiness, or sukham, really is.
And it doesn't stop there. The text doubles down on this idea. That same cycle of arising is also called fear, or bhayam. Which makes sense, right? There's a constant anxiety in that instability. So naturally, non-arising is identified with safety, with khaimam, a true sense of security.
So all of this deep listening, this sorting, all these contrasts, it's all pointing in one direction. It's all leading to one ultimate goal.
And here we are at the final, crucial distinction. That whole process of arising gets a name, sankhara, or formations. It's basically the entire engine of our repetitive existence. And its complete opposite, Non-arising gets its ultimate name, nibbānam, liberation, the end of the cycle. That's the whole point.
You see, what's so amazing about this text is that it's not just a bunch of high-minded philosophy. It's not asking you just to believe things. It's handing you a practical roadmap, a step-by-step guide to take all this understanding and turn it into real, actual peace in your life.
Okay, so let's boil this all down. What are the big takeaways here? 1. Real wisdom starts with a special kind of listening. 2. You can sort all of your experiences into 5 simple, actionable buckets. 3. This whole system gives you a super clear path. Abandon the stuff that causes fear and build up the stuff that brings peace. And 4. The whole point of all of this is nibbāna, liberation from that cycle of suffering.
So this ancient operating manual isn't just about history. It's a mirror you can hold up to your own life. And that leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. When you look at your own life through this framework, what's there that just needs to be known, without judgment? What really needs to be understood on a deeper level? What do you need to abandon? And maybe most important of all, what do you need to develop?